VV. Why do you have to be a V?
I refuse to be the VV. I'm this time. Last week, you all had the taste of the Austrian V. This week is going to be Indian V.
I love
Tomorrow
it.
is going
Indian
to be
V is
Asian
actual
V.
V.
I love it.
Tomorrow is going to be Asian V, where I pronounce my R's as H's or my H's as R's.
Now that we're live, this is not as fun.
We got to go live, man.
We are
We're
live.
alive.
I know,
We're
but now
alive.
it's not fun.
Now
I'm having fun.
All right.
Everybody's having fun.
Dex, you were
Do it
saying
live.
Dex, you were just saying that the dollar was punching people in the face this week.
Yeah, the dollar. See, it seems like every time there's some weird like economic news, people start talking about, oh, the death of the dollar. The dollar's going to end in 4 days. I have inside information.
It is.
My father's a CIA agent, and my mother's in the FBI.
I just sold all my children for an ounce of silver.
Ridiculous stuff, man. Ridiculous. So right now the dollar is up, huge. We're at 97.56. I still believe, before it's all said and done, the dollar is going to break par. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, it means the dollar is going to break 100.
Yeah, break
Yeah.
hundo.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing for the dollar.
Well,
No, hundo.
well, here's the thing. A strong dollar is good, as far as import-export stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as, for us here, it remains to be seen how good that's going to be or not. The reason I say that is because, goods and services, appreciating in value while wages are moving in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add to that the mix that there's no jobs. And then you add to the mix the China trade tariffs. It could be pretty disastrous. There's an old saying too on the flip side of that is that it doesn't matter what the price of something is if you can't afford it.
Right.
We used to joke back in the day, can you ever been so broke where someone came up to you and was like, yo, man, I got this fly, brand new $100,000 Cadillac. It's yours. How much? Just give me $5. It's yours. Man, you don't have $5 in your pocket. You can't even buy it. So it doesn't matter what the deal is. If you don't have any money, you cannot take advantage of it.
Right.
And that's what I see coming as a result of these trade wars. History repeating itself. It never ends good for all people involved. And it's just how it is.
Before we go any further, we're going to talk about... Wait, who's not? What is that? Before we go any further, so this is Frank, and we've got our main man Kung Fu is on with us, which is very rare. He's going to talk. He was at Consensus this week. He's going to talk about that. Of course, V the Guerrilla. This is his home. Of course, he's here. I'm Frank. Dex is here. Dex is going to be talking about Potus in a little while and how he messes with the market. We also want to gloat because we have an incredible chart made by one of our members. We're going to show you that briefly. So we've got some cool things we're going to talk about today.
It's all about me. It's all about me.
Dex. It's all about Dex. We saw Dex.
I'm Daffy Duck today.
We saw Dex's fingers before, which we.
He's whiter than we thought.
He's had freckles and red hair on his fingers.
Jesus. He just sounds like a black guy, but he's really not.
He's really an Irish guy. He was holding a piece of cabbage.
He's really Irish, folks.
He was holding a piece of cabbage and a Guinness.
And some corn and some corned beef.
Corned beef.
Don't forget the crackers and the Oreos, which I will be eating throughout the broadcast.
Did you call me a cracker? Racist.
Oh,
can't believe you called me a cracker.
I can't use that word.
On live YouTube.
How about this? I'm going to be eating some crunchy bread with cheese in the middle of it.
I'm still offended. Still offended. So anyway, what were we going to start with? I forget what we were going to talk about.
Oh, well, we're going to start off with a couple of things, Frankie boy. We're going to be talking about the DAB. Let's start off with crypto because Kung Fu was a consensus on Monday. I was in meetings over at an institution, and then Tuesday I was a consensus.
Is that what you call? Is that what you call the institution now?
I was going to say
it's the institution.
He was institutionalized. Institutionalized.
I might as well be institutionalized. I'm going crazy.
It's a euphemism. I was at a meeting in an institution. Yeah, you were strapped to the table.
Yeah, I was. Well, they did experiments on me. I have a chip now implanted in my certain nether region of mine.
Yep. Now,
they give me access to the office.
V is now controlled opposition.
I am.
He's got.
I'm being rectally controlled.
They chipped him
by a rectal implant.
Oh, man. Hate to be that.
Clinton.
If
I say anything bad about Hillary Clinton or Jeff Bezos, they shock me.
Some people might enjoy that, depending
With
on
the
which
rectal
position.
implant. This is
Wow.
going sideways.
So Kung Fu, how is
Start off with
how
Kung
is
Fu. I'm
consensus?
going crazy.
It was
Now
it
Kung
was,
Fu.
it was great. It was great. It was really, really fun. Met with a few companies, was able to sit on a panel and do some judging. I would probably say not judging, but lack thereof judging, because
Judging projects, crypto projects.
Yeah. I don't really want to talk necessarily about them, because then it will seem like a marketing kind of thing. But
why don't you talk about a few of them instead of keeping us in suspense? Well, you have to name them.
He was given tokens based on who he gave.
I'd rather promote the woman that put it on. I think, she did a great job. She put a lot of things together late, from publicized blockchain. And then she set up like a pretty cool way of where like you can have, they had 8 pitch contestants, and they had like 8 different judges. Cool. And the person pitching had, I think, 5 minutes to do their whole spiel on a deck, across a very large screen. And it was like a stadium seating, so you were very close. It was very intimate. There was a lot of food there too, tons of alcohol, so they definitely kept everyone nice and happy.
Did you go to the polymath booth where they were giving out free complimentary drink and food?
No. It was afterwards. Everyone went though.
It sounds like the crypto dating game.
You know what?
Like this token runs on the Lightning Network.
But I will say that this is some of the things that I witnessed that I think Frank took and try to make it as a
sensationalize it.
Yeah, you sensationalized it.
Yep. I did. I was hoping to.
I was waiting for V to go, Comey ruined the FBI for the next 30 years. I was waiting for you to say something like that, but that's already happened, I guess, right?
Yeah. I saw him on CNN. He's the worst.
He's my best friend. But so the pitch contestants were, one of them was a company called Soluna, which if anyone...
I told you not to mention names, but that's okay.
Well, I'm not going to mention the person that pitched it because they really bombed it. But
whoa,
like
shots
really
fired.
bad, like really,
Shots
really
fired.
Bad. I mean, it's not his fault. I think this is what happened. I think the company bought this other company called Soluna, and it's in an area where there's just tons of wind. But if you go back about 7 months ago, you'll find that this company had a very large ICO, which is probably a 4-letter word at this point. And so what's happened is that a lot of these ICOs that raised some money or didn't get the actual money or the full amount from it, looks like they're doing their second pitch.
Yeah.
That's kind of what, like, okay, so consensus last year was
seen a lot of that.
Depressing, probably, right? Because the market was coming down at this time, right? It was like around 8 or 9 or whatever. And now it's back at that. But it's in a different way, right? It's like we've gone through hell and now we're back again. And I think everyone was very, very positive, but there's still some question marks around projects that just don't get out of the way, like this project, Soluna. I'm not saying that mining with wind power in an area where there's like 2,000 people isn't a brilliant idea, but in all honesty, you're not helping the people that live there. There's no guarantee that you're going to donate any money to them. And on top of it, you were just purchased by a South African company, holding company, no less. And they have experience in the wind farm business, but this business happens to be 14,000 miles away or something. So, so there's I definitely exaggerated 14,000 miles because that would mean that they're really far, but
off planet.
But yeah, they're off they're in the Atlantic Ocean. That's where they are. Which, by the way, probably a lot of wind there too. So that was one company that I thought was kind of foolish. And they also happened to sponsor a very popular crypto star who does a big podcast, Mr. Pomp. So it's kind of funny that they had all that money for a long time, and then they sponsored a bunch of things, didn't go as well. And if you guys want to go back in history and you could just take a look, you could find that Soluna was going around town pitching their shit, and they didn't get it done. You know, I don't know what happened, but something happened along the way where it failed. And
that's what I want to ask you in general is, like, you know, what's the mood in terms of I don't know how to answer
there's
this
life.
question. Like where all these things are going. You know, like we saw.
Positive.
For example, there were a couple news stories this week of ICOs that were big, where they essentially are changing the product completely. Like, for example, Populus announced this week that they're going to accept. You're going to be able to use the platform with stable coins, and that's really cool for Populus, unless you bought a bunch of Populus. You know, you know, it's little things like that where it's like companies are being forced to change their plans. And go in different directions.
Darn you, Potus!
Yeah, I think
another speaking engagement, you guys.
Dex
out
makes
any
a really
minute.
good point. Dex, you know the Knicks, they only got the 3rd pick. They still can't get a 1st pick since Ewing. You know that?
No, I didn't know that, but I know that your Potus is about to speak again.
Okay. So for those who don't know what Dex is talking about, every time the Dow starts falling, Potus gets on air. This is one of our next topics for today. But what were you going to say? And then we'll talk about Potus. What were you going to say?
I was just going to wrap it up and just say, well, I was going to wrap it up. I was going to go one more company, but it's okay. There was one really, really good company there that I have to say. So this is where the good stuff is coming, is that there's the IQ there's a ton of smart people now entering. I think it may have taken the rise and the fall for the people, either the bigger companies that have dev chops that understand how to run system architecture, how to build main nets, a lot of things that aren't truly out there. Maybe there's a lot of developers in the JS world, but there's not a lot building Bitcoin on the mainnet. Like there's just not there, right? And so the community needs to come together. And it looks like from the financial area, which is male dominated, it also looks like there's females now.
That's why I don't invest.
Which is really positive too.
I can't have a male dominated.
Celsius Network was there. Alex Minczewski is a boss. I really like him. He speaks great. He was like, I think the founder of VoIP or something. He was a really smart guy. He's a smart guy now. I don't think he lost it. Maybe he had a couple kids, but he still has it.
We know what those will do to you.
But there was a company that I have to bring up. It was almost laughable. This guy got up there and he's just like, we're decentralized. We took the best privacy coin and we made it more private, more secure, super decentralized.
So private, you can't have any.
I had to drink my tequila faster so I wouldn't feel dumb. But
you're not going to name names though, are you?
There was.
All right, real quick.
I felt bad for me.
Real quick, Kung Fu. Top 3 HODL coins right now. Your favorite top 3
tokens or coins?
People who don't know you don't know how smart you are about stuff like this. What are your? I don't care if it's a token or a coin. It's a crypto. Top 3 HODL cryptos.
OX is my fave.
OX, okay.
That's what's powered.
It's actually 0x, isn't it?
Whatever.
I'm just saying so people can find it.
Fine, 0x. Get at it.
What's your next?
If you research it, you'll find that they support quite a few very big companies, and 3 companies in the last year were purchased based off of their platform, and their platform made it so that you can plug in your Trezor into the computer directly. Again, I'm very simple as I explain this, and you're able to actually trade with your cold wallet plugged in. That's a pretty cool thing. Everyone should look up what that actually is, and you'll find out that from a trader standpoint or from an institutional standpoint, especially if you're holding lots of money or lots of crypto within something, that's probably what's going to happen on a larger level, maybe like a server side level, or maybe something bigger. Who knows? Maybe an air gap level. Well, then you probably wouldn't be trading because you're not connected to the internet. But nonetheless, it's a very powerful system. I would say go look at it. Very smart people. They came from Goldman, by the way, back in the day. So they've been up and running for a while. I would probably support them. They're one of my favorites. Dash. Man, Dash has been one of my favorites for a very, very long time. I think it was the second coin I actually read about. I think I told V about it a long time ago. I'm like, V, I don't know what this thing is about Dash, like 2016. And I remember I downloaded the GUI and I started mining it, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I thought it was cool. And now after about 3 years of researching it, I'm holding it. I think it's a 3-5 year kind of deal. I mean, all these could be much longer. And then, from like the corporate side of things, people might lash out for me saying this. I know this is a popular coin, but like, let's look what IBM is trying to do, right? They're trying to break into Amazon, Google. They're trying to get back into the cloud. You could say that they are. I would probably argue that they're not. I'd probably argue that if you look at their financials, they're hurting. But I would probably say that IBM is actually underpriced. Now, this relates to what? This relates to XLM. Stellar has some issues. It needs probably more developers, but they have a really, really good core team. And that's usually what I look for. I usually kind of dig a little deeper. I wouldn't say it's social crypto stalking, because that's not good either for me to say on air. But I would probably say is that I do my homework and I try to understand who's part of the project. Why are they doing big things? Why were they chosen? Because that's kind of like how you got to think of it. Right? Like they left whatever they're doing, they went to this thing, and then they were brought inside a bigger company and then tantalized with, you have unlimited resources, like make this happen. And so XLM has way, like I probably so much potential. I just don't know where it's going, and I don't want to push it because I don't. But what I do know is that it's tied to IBM. And I know IBM's fighting. And if they keep fighting, XLM will come up with it. So yeah, those are it. I have other stories to tell about that. I think that there's a bigger story there. I think it's underpriced too, 12 cents. Well,
cool.
12.4. So you're getting XLM, you're getting Dash, and you're getting 0x. Those are my
Thanks, buddy.
Can I go now?
Yeah, you can go now. Yeah, but Kung Fu is an integral part of Watch Us Trade, soon to be named something else. It's top secret unless you're looking at
PulseWave Trading.
It's not PulseWave Trading if you're looking at it.
Or PulseWaveTrades.app or PulseWave Trading .labs or whatever. Speaking
of those pulse waves, V, could you share my screen if you're not already?
Sure, Leaf.
So Dex,
buddy.
Dex, you've been talking a little bit about the Dow and making some predictions with the Dow. You're there, right, Dex? You here?
Dex, why don't you just come out and admit that you're a remote viewer? We'll have more. If you stop talking about pulse waves and start talking about remote viewing,
call it remote view trading.
Chicken bones, dude, we'd have like 1 million subs by now.
There's some people who literally
people in the trading
only
room.
Trust that. Yeah. But we have
that's all people trust. Let's talk about your remote viewing skills. Go for it.
So Stealth in the room this week. I'm sharing a chart right now. This was posted in our room by our friend Stealth, who's a member of the Watch Us Trade room, soon to be named something else. And here's the thing. That little tan area you're seeing where it says Dex Hard Body Karate Call, he put that there. But here's the thing you have to understand. Dex predicted specific dates that he thought the Dow was going to start moving down. And he put that on this calendar. I think he said mid or late April. So minimum 2 weeks ago, as many as 4 weeks ago. And minimum 2, though. He said it was definitely April. So you could see it started moving a couple days earlier. That's a daily chart. But, man, that's good enough for me. That's pretty amazing. He was predicting that move, and there it is. So congratulations, Dex.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And those green candles are every time Potus got up to talk.
Pretty much.
So what's he been doing, Dex? Because you've been hating these. You said he's getting as bad as Greenspan.
Yeah, he really is. He's starting to flex his muscles with these markets. Every day that the market was down, they would be like, okay, comments from the president pending. And then he would come out, take the podium, and talk about Swiss cheese and macaroni, and the market will rally. I'm serious. It's almost like it's planned.
When you say Swiss cheese macaroni, you mean he's just saying anything, and then
whatever. He's talking about whatever. He could be talking about how many handkerchiefs he used this week.
So it's like ridiculous. A Pavlovian thing. Traders see that he's getting on TV, and they just start buying.
There you go. And like this morning, the Dow futures was down almost 200 points pre-market, and now the Dow is up. The Dow futures are up, 58 points.
It's crazy.
So I think today what he's doing, since the market is not down today, but up slightly, I believe that what he is doing is keeping it that way. So the fact that he's coming out and speaking is making them buy more. For instance, there's an awesome rally going on in the NASDAQ 100.
Yeah.
We have rallied this morning from the 73 handle. Now we're at the 75 handle. All right. The NASDAQ futures are up almost 82 points. That's humongous. You're looking at almost going on a 200-point rally off the lows in the NASDAQ 100 futures.
Mm-hmm.
This is reminiscent of the 1990s, where the average daily range of the NASDAQ 100 was 200 points.
What symbol am I looking for? I wasn't.
NQ. Nancy, Quebec.
Got it. I don't know. Am I still sharing, V? I've got the chart up.
I see nothing. You see something? I see nothing.
Okay, hold on. All right. No, that's our meeting. Oh, that's our meeting registration for PulseWave trading for beginners.
I still see nothing.
Link, is it? You still don't see anything? Come on, man.
All I see is the symbol.
You got to share me, V.
Now I'm starting to see something. Okay.
You see the chart?
Yeah. No, I see the registration page.
All right, give it a second to catch up.
Now I see a chart.
Okay.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that daily candle.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What did I do?
All right, now you're back.
What did I do? I didn't do anything.
Man, you should have saw it was like a million of these charts going back, making like an effect, like the hallway was getting longer.
Oh, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. Very cool.
You're killing me.
Sorry, man.
All right. So let's see here. You look at that chart right here. You see it's almost retraced the entire move of the red candle.
This is the daily.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That red candle is what I was telling you about. So that's where that's where it is. Oh, someone let me know that the video is delayed.
Oh, you're not watching live with us. You're watching what they're watching instead of watching what we're doing. You got to be in the Google Hangout video.
Oh, so you wasn't posting nothing there. That's why I didn't know. Yeah.
Why? What are you blaming me for now? What did I do now?
I don't know. So now I'm getting emotional again.
All right. I'll post the video.
So basically, what you have is, remember the gap that we showed everybody on the pull up the QQQ so they can see it.
Okay.
Because you're not going to see it on the futures. Okay. See the QQQs. You see how it gapped down, and then the market went ahead and filled that gap now.
Yep.
So now the next thing is, this is very critical. We're at a critical.
By the way, live in the room the other day, you gave everybody a free money tip. You called it free money. You said it's a very rare event. You have these massive gap downs, and you showed everybody how to make money off of it.
Yes, I did.
Very specifically. You didn't just say buy it. You gave a very specific instruction, and here we are 2 days later. If a person had followed that instruction, they'd be seriously in the money. Very seriously.
Big time.
Big time.
But hey, what do I know?
What do you know? You don't know.
I know nothing.
He knows nothing.
Yeah. See, if you were a member,
got big Irish man hands. He doesn't know anything.
If you guys were members in the trading room and you subscribe to the service, you would be naming your children after us today.
Yeah.
But because you didn't, you got short. You lost.
Yep.
And notice how right now today the market's moving really, really fast. Right now you have approximately, I want to say I'll give you $3. You got about possibly $2.50 to $3 left of this uptrend recycle.
Oh yeah.
Before the market falls back down again. You're at a critical juncture right now, where you have the rampage coming up in that Kumo cloud on the daily. You got that rampage coming up, which is nice.
Yeah,
but
you're talking about this right here.
Yeah, you have that rampage right there.
According to Kung Fu, you use the cloud differently than anybody, and I found it to be very helpful the way you use the cloud. So
I use everything different than everybody else.
Yep.
Most people would laugh and say, "You don't know what you're talking about. That's not how you use that. That's not what that means." This
is what we call a Loch Ness configuration in the cloud.
Yeah, there you go.
I made that up.
I know.
Cool. It's cool.
It's right off the fly. So you have rampage coming up, but you have overhead resistance, which is very powerful where we are, which is around that 185 level. And that's going to hamper the rampage. The market needs to do it like right now. Like it needs to do it within the next 3 to 5 trading sessions on the daily in order to get up and over the Kumo cloud.
So if it doesn't,
it
can fall through and the cloud will become resistant.
Yeah, I see it falling through. Here's the thing. Here's you need to guys take note of this. If within the next 3 to 5 bars, the NASDAQ cannot get back to a positive bull trend, it's in danger of falling beneath the Kumo cloud and taking trend lines with it. And it stands 100% chance of doing that if it cannot lock in the bull trend again within the next 3 to 5 bars. So you're looking at possible devastation coming into the stock market. I did not say crash. I did not say collapse. I'm not talking about global economic collapse. I'm talking about price action.
So this economic collapse you just predicted, you're thinking next day or two?
I didn't say anything about an economic collapse.
You were saying I should sell my children for
price action.
$1,500 silver. You're saying next couple days.
No, don't. We're not going there. We'll be lucky if silver can maintain $14.80 within the next 3 to 5 days.
I'm just messing with you.
Hold on. This is Juanita Wang, and I have a chart that I'm going to show you.
This.
Oh, it says that silver is going to go to $10 million an ounce.
Why do you got to make it personal?
And on May 25th, 2019, the market is going to collapse because I look at this. And please buy my gold coins. This is Juanita Wang. Thank you.
Thank you, Juanita.
All right. Well, I will say this.
It's always good to hear from our correspondent.
They are talking about, gold, this, silver, that. But they're talking in immediate terms. I'm saying eventually gold, silver, and, cryptocurrencies are going to be rallying heavily. But I don't see that happening right now. Go ahead and pull up the gold chart for everybody so I can walk them through this.
You want GLD?
Yeah, pull up the GLD. That's fine.
You could say please. I mean,
do it now.
I'm just your trading view chart. I'm just your chart monkey over here. You just throw some crackers at me, which I don't appreciate.
There you go. That's my job. All right, now we have a problem on this daily chart. Class, anyone want to raise their hand and tell me what the problem is on this chart?
The Kumo, we've got a gap for one thing, and we're hitting that Kumo cloud.
So we have a gap, or did you say gaps, like plural?
I said gap. Was I supposed to say gaps? Oh, we do have gaps. We got. Look at this. We got 1, 2. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that? Yeah, there's a gap right there.
All the gaps you showed me just now have all been filled, but there's another one. You're getting close. It has not been filled. Where is it? Come on. Here? Nope, go back.
Oh, this. Wait, where?
Go forward. No, go forward. Go back a little bit.
We're delayed. We're delayed.
Go forward.
You want me to go back?
Go left. Come back. Don't make me pull up my chart.
Right here? But that's been filled.
Go over a few bars. Right there you go. You just went backwards. Go back forward again. It's right on the May. Look at May. Look at the May, the month of May at the bottom, and put your cursor right there.
Oh, this.
Boom.
Oh.
Yep. Not filled.
Oh, interesting. Even though
filled,
it gaps back up, you still consider that not filled?
Not filled.
Interesting.
Void. That is a void, a pocket void, a gap void. Because look what happened. You gap down. And then you gap back up. You never back and filled.
How'd that happen?
And so basically you have a gap void where you gap down and then gap up above the previous gap. You have a gap void or a gap vortex that is going to suck price action way back down. So you're looking at crashing somewhere around the 120 level on this GLD on the daily chart.
That's interesting. Not to mention you got this immediate gap right here.
Yep. That needs to be dealt with as well.
So for a little free tip, you might want to tighten those stops.
And what is the bigger elephant in the room? Now that the gap vortex is one thing. That's huge. But what else do we have on the screen?
We got this big Kumo cloud.
And where's the price action at?
It's touching it.
There you go. Right below it.
It's touching it right in that crevice there.
It's struggling.
I made it weird.
So it's going to provide pressure on the gold. Gold cannot rally in that condition. In order for gold to really be like mad bullish, Remember, you got to have price action and trend lines outside of the Kumo cloud, top side, not below the cloud.
See, this is the thing. People hear you say, you've been predicting a nice move in precious metals and a nice move in cryptos, which we have had a micro nice move in cryptos. But I think people always take that to mean immediately. And that's why I joke. I say I sold my kids for silver, because people run out and they start buying silver and stuff like that. And this is the thing, especially if you're trading the markets, the PulseWaves are giving you some direction every day, which is extremely helpful, not to mention weekly. And so, I think that the thing, even when someone's in our room, it takes, a little while to sort of catch up, figure out the way these PulseWaves work. But, the longer I know you and work with you with the PulseWaves, I understand the way that you're trading these things. There's other people out there, they just sort of, they hear you say, cryptos are going to go up, precious metals are going to go up, and they just get them all. You're waiting for specific price action before you really go in on all these things.
Right. Things have to confirm. With every market prophecy, you have to have confirmation, and certain things have to come into place. Go ahead and pull up a weekly chart of this GLD so we can paint the picture for folks. All right. So
look at that.
All right. So
that's sucking the price action down.
Do you not see the problem that we have on this chart? We're already in a downtrend channel. Okay. All right. You're in a downtrend channel, and you have a gap up on the weekly chart. That means the gap needs to be tended to, and it hasn't happened yet. You can't really have a bull market rally without handling your pointers and your gaps. Gaps have to be reckoned with. You can't just ignore them. The market will not do that. Now, can it go for some time before it deals with a gap? Yeah, it can. But most of the time, markets like to deal with gaps almost immediately. And because equities are better priced than futures, you could expect that correction to come sooner rather than later.
Plus, you got this what we call a Chinese dragon formation here. It's going in and out of the way. No, I just made that up.
No, but for real, though.
But it is very pretty.
Yeah, other than that, though, I mean, you do have trend lines and price above the Kumo cloud on the weekly. So that is a bullish setup. However, because
short term, you're expecting it to.
Yes, and because of the downtrend channel, you're in a correcting mode in this chart.
Right.
All right. You stop trending for now. You're not trending higher. You're not bullishly moving higher. You're in a bullish correction right now. So right now the bears have control of this market and will continue to until that gap is filled.
Hey, can we look at something else that people are interested in today?
Sure.
Can we look at BNB?
Yep.
BNB's got some beautiful candles.
Very beautiful.
This is the weekly. Of course, Binance. I don't know anybody who's listening. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not in the YouTube chat. I'm trying because I'm sharing my screen. I can't do it at the same time. But anybody in Watch Us Trade, has Binance opened back up again? That's what I'm asking for anybody who's listening. They were doing their reset today after their big hack last week, and Binance coin just took off today. I mean, look at this. They went from look at this $6 move, and I used the PulseWaves and got in on that. So
I'm sorry, you said you used what?
I use the PulseWaves.
You use one more time. I don't think they heard you.
The PulseWave Price Triggers.
All right,
the thing that we sell. It's a subscription service. It's monthly.
So you eat your own cooking.
I eat my own cooking. Yeah, I'm heavy in the BNB. Here's the thing. I don't think there was a +1 rally alert, but BNB is one of those coins that I use the price. The prices are, and this is a reminder for everyone in our room, those of you who aren't in the room, you want to understand this, that's okay. But the price is the most important indicator. And so even though there wasn't a rally alert, I used the price as my in. And I think that the in price was, I think it was $26.10. So yeah, could have gotten in earlier, but a nice move nonetheless.
Well,
so
that's a daily chart you got up there. So how many rally alerts have we had in the last 10 trading sessions?
Oh, I don't know. Quite a few.
And what has the market done?
It's gone up. So yeah, if I had been, and I wasn't trading that much because I'm working on this website, but I did start trading again this week, probably around here. So had I been doing what I just described, it's highly likely I would have gotten back in to BNB You got me out of BNB. I want to say I think it was somewhere around $21, $22.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually, the PulseWaves would have gotten me out much earlier, to be honest. I kind of was stuck in them. The PulseWaves would, from my recollection, the PulseWaves would have gotten me out somewhere way up there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they certainly would have using if let's say you're someone who trades BNB regularly,
right.
PulseWaves would have gotten you in down here somewhere, and you would be moving up.
Exactly.
And then if, let's say you got in and you got stopped out, it'd get you back in the next day because these are moving nicely.
Self-adjusting schematics within the system.
That's right.
It's designed to get you on the right side of the market and put you on the right side of the trade at all times.
Or $27 on there now.
Yeah.
And there's different ways, on one hand, we hand you the whole system on a platter. On another hand, we let you adjust it to your style. So for example, we give you a method for setting stop losses that could have kept you in that trade and ridden the whole thing if you wanted to have a really high tolerance for it to move. If you're the kind of person who wants to lock in every dollar you make, there's another method. And they're both very, very simple. Takes you 2 seconds. You just have to pick which one you're going to use, and that's up to you. So I tend to set my stops very tight, sometimes too tight, and we'll move in and out of things like this often. So pretty helpful.
Awesome.
What else? Didn't we have another? No, we don't have another topic. I'm done. We have this. V, you still with us, man? You still alive back there? We have this coming up Friday, 1 p.m. PulseWave trading for beginners, and we're going to go over what you need to know to start riding the PulseWaves. We'll talk about what it takes to trade the PulseWaves every day, how to fit trading into your busy schedule, accounts you'll need to set up, and this is for everything. This is for if you want to trade cryptos, forex, equities, and whatnot. I just got permission to share the chart that I shared 20 minutes ago. So thank you, Stealth. He didn't answer me, so I shared it anyway. I knew he wouldn't mind it. How to use the PulseWave price triggers to place trades, minimum capital requirements, lower than you think, and much more. So that's this Friday, 1 p.m. We always have a lot of fun there, and you can ask Dex questions. I also want to say we had one last week. I posted the replay to Remain Calm, which we're not using for that many things anymore. So remaincalm.net/trade. Very easy to find. remaincalm.net/trade. And you could watch our ultimate trading webinar, which we talked about how to join Watch's Trade, apply for funding, and book a consultation with Mr. X. And I had Mr. X on, I had our funding partner on, and they talked about the basics. So you could rewatch that right now at remaincalm.net/trade. Very, very good series that we did. So.
Yeah, someone was asking about a webinar. I guess they had missed it.
Yeah,
and
I
we do post those reruns, right?
Yeah, we do. We make those available, and pretty soon we'll have a page where you could just go and watch them all, and it'll just be very simple to find them. But that's all going to be part of our new website once it's up. And what we're doing is, with all the new technology and new options we're having, our price is going up. So we're encouraging people, if you're thinking, hey, I want to try Watch's Trade out, now is going to be the cheapest you're ever going to get. And you lock in that price because it's a subscription, and we're not going to change the subscription price anytime soon. So now's the time to go in there.
Yep, I highly recommend it, folks. You want to get, one of the biggest reasons you want to get in there too, not just because the price is going up, but because you want to get acclimated to what it is we do and how we do it. Mm-hmm. So that when the markets really start banging, you'll know what each call means. When we put live calls in the room, and I say, okay, I'm 2-bar Charlie and Silver right now on, let's do this,
mm-hmm.
and you'll know what that means, and you'll be able to get in there with us. And if we say, hey, guess what, you guys, we didn't get stopped out. Let's move the stop even tighter now. Boom, mm-hmm. You'll know what that means. You'll get familiar with the jargon and what's going on. Yeah. And if I say, oh my goodness, you guys, gold is negative post-waving, get out longs, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say that. So you want to get in now, learn all you can so you'll be ready, because I'm telling you, the gold and the silver and the miners and these cryptos are going to just be going bananas.
Yeah, I have Bitcoin on the screen right now. And, Dex, I mean, not for nothing, but you predicted Bitcoin was going to 7,000 in the short term. You've been cautious about it the last couple weeks because we were coming up on some resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, the PulseWave certainly got you in here multiple times over the last few weeks. So, and now we're at over 8,000.
Mm-hmm.
A small hiccuping child just walked in the room, so if you hear any popping sounds, it's her.
Kumo Cloud of Death.
Yeah, now you're in the Kumo Cloud, and we talk about, we're not going to tell you how to do that now, but we talk about how to trade it once you're in the Kumo Cloud, which there are special considerations. We talked about that on our live broadcast that we did inside the room a day or two ago. So,
and most people got out at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. We gotten out, and man, look at that. It moved. It went all the way to 83.
Yeah.
And let's look at the daily. People can see. So
look at that.
Would you consider that a pointer, or is that too tight? It's probably too subtle.
Not necessarily. I'm tell you why. Because you're really in a powerful bull trend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible you could try to get close to that again, but that's not a true like super pointer.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
Not really. Plus, you're in the Kumo Cloud of Death. Expect pullback in price.
Yeah, be careful.
Imminent.
Be careful.
And I think you could test toward the bottom of the cloud there. So I think price is going to go to around 5,500.
Whereas BNB is actually above the cloud on the weekly.
Yeah,
that's amazing. For cryptos, don't you think that's pretty significant that any of them are above the cloud?
Yeah, that BNB, that's a weekly chart. That is a bull market by every stretch of the definition.
Yeah,
you got price action and you got trend lines above the Kumo Cloud. That's powerful.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's powerful. So that is bullish as can be.
Yeah, this is the 4 hour.
Yeah, there's nothing bearish on that chart.
Yeah.
So I would definitely,
cool.
It's
fun, man.
Set those stops.
PulseWaves.
Go PulseWaves, baby. Yeah. That's what we do. That's how we roll.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. V, you were kind of at consensus. Was there a lot of soy lattes being served?
There was plenty. The soy lattes were flowing, as well as the alcohol.
I'm being cheeky, as one of my friends used to say.
So many
soy lattes. A lot of soy lattes being served.
I just put it all over.
I didn't know you were still here, Kung Fu. I thought you left.
He was on mute.
I'm Kung Fu.
Yes.
All right, can you stop sharing me, V? Because I want to do something else.
Why would you tell me to stop sharing? Isn't sharing caring?
Sharing is caring. I just don't want to share my screen anymore.
Fine, I'll just put the Dex and his raging Wall Street bull back on.
Put that raging Wall Street.
I'm just going to put me. That's it. This way everybody sees me talking. There you go.
That's what we want, V. We want more of you.
That's it. That's what the world needs, more of me.
Did you do anything fun at Consensus, or were you just hanging out?
No, I just had a lot of boring institutional meetings. I think one.
Oh, that's right. You were institutionalized.
I was institutionalized for a little while. Then it was good. It was good to meet a lot of the colleagues, movers and shakers, some heavy hitters that are in the space, hearing all the plans. There's going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot more consolidation that's going to happen in the market. A lot of the smaller players are going to get eaten up. They're going to get bought out. There's some heavy hitters coming into the space.
Yeah, God willing.
The future of crypto is bright, man. That is one thing I can tell you.
Yeah,
it ain't going nowhere.
This is what I've been saying, and I like not to steal a line from Dex, but I literally know nothing. my gut is our next big move is going to be much more serious in terms of the projects that are taken seriously.
Oh yeah, it's no more fluff and bullshit anymore.
Yeah, no more.
The shysters are being weeded out of the market. The fakers are being done, and you have a lot more. Serious, real, respected brands, names, and institutions that are coming in, and they're occupying the space. We're seeing so they're dictating because look, you have the market that's being bought up, and all the money that's being bought up by a lot of serious institutional players. In order to have access to that capital, in order to really bring projects to fruition, you have to be legit. The days of creating bogus coins and having stupid ICOs based on nothing. Those days are over pretty much, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Fingers crossed.
But now the worst stuff is going to start happening with Wall Street. I don't know if you guys have been following the whole Bitfinex thing, but
oh yeah, absolutely. I spoke with the head of the group last week.
well, you should let me finish. Okay, so I don't know if you want me to say, if we wanted to say that because there's this guy and he is former owner of the Minnesota Vikings, which is, I wouldn't say a great team, but hey, they're pretty competitive as far as last year goes. They got young quarterback, and there was a former owner named Reggie Fowler, or Reginald Fowler. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, he was caught up in the $850 million Bitfinex scam, or
not a scam. They have it.
Call it. I don't know if it's, there's some vote of confidence there, so I can't take it away. But what I will say is that for a guy that had access to all that capital, he got caught with $14,000 worth of fake cash, fake $100 bills. And so it kind of makes you think for a second, yeah, there's a lot of bad actors out there in the ICO world, maybe greed kind of like led that. But now you're really seeing the underbelly of where potentially how Wall Street meets crypto, right? Like there's bigger money wanting to come in, but there's also bigger money that's been sitting there with a few projects that are probably pretty ugly. I think that money needs to move off for it to, be a real true value.
I agree.
Great research, guys. If you ever get a chance, I'm going to butcher their name. It's called Mazzari. I know I'm not saying
you butchered that.
I did.
It's pronounced Missouri.
Missouri. No.
Amazon.com.
Right? Crypto research.
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just messing with you.
I hate you.
Frank was just messing with you.
No, it's great research. They do phenomenal charting beyond what like just picking stocks. They were the ones that called out XRP on how many they created or how many they burned. They're doing some pretty cool stuff. And they also go into some pretty cool details on how like wallets work as far as, when they get opened, as far as them being burned, as far as people building on top of them. And, it's interesting. There's a lot of data out there it's just not made public. I don't know why. I think they're doing a good job of it. I just think it's not wide enough. So you guys get a chance. Mazzari, I'll put the link in here. I'll find it. Hold on. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, it is Mazzari. It's MESSARI.io. I will say I do subscribe to them. I like them. I get my crypto intelligence from about 5 or 6 different places. Actually, now 6. But this one happens to be one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Where should I post this? I don't even know how to post this. Where do I post
I don't know. You can't.
What do you mean I can't?
You can't.
What do you mean I can't?
We need, you know what we need? We need to get our Twitter game going. That's the problem.
Yeah. Okay. So you're gonna tell me, hey, do it, and then give me 7 hours and
yes,
and they're like, hey,
oh, you posted it. A thing happened. Something happened
with no white around it. Just
What did I do?
Is it up?
Why are you mad at me today?
You get so upset when I talk back.
No, I don't. I just don't know what you're upset. You take things I say as being like personal attacks, and all I do is love you. Why can't I quit you, Matt?
Why can't I quit?
Why can't I quit you?
Walk away now. Walk away. I'm smiling. I have like ear to ear for Frank.
Yeah, thank you.
But Dex, I do think we need to have a lunch.
Yeah, let's do it. We're still live, but yeah, we should have a lunch.
I went to Junior's. Oh, that was a highlight of my.
We can confirm that Dex has freakish Irish man hands with red hair and.
No,
I told you I was a nut. You didn't believe me.
That was so funny before. Yeah, no, but when we started the call, for those of you who are wondering, this stupid joke I keep telling, Dex had his phone on in his pocket and was streaming his pocket live on the internet. And when he took it out, we saw his fingers, and they were surprisingly light. Anyway, we just thought it was funny.
Yeah, he's above. He's mature. He's like above words. People can't shake him.
You can't shake him.
That's why you can't shake the PulseWaves.
Can't shake the PulseWaves.
Go PulseWaves.
We should. Yeah, indeed. We should shut it down. We're just rambling on about stupidity now.
Yo, what up, Ari Fowler?
My daughter.
There's always something to talk about.
my daughter had her kindergarten. One of my daughters, here's my date right now. One of my daughters had her kindergarten orientation. My other daughter stayed home because of rumors of a school shooting. So that was my life today. It turned out to be fake.
School shooting?
It was fake. Somebody was threatening the school, so we kept her home. Listen, I knew it was probably fake, but I just want my kids to know, if you want to stay home from school, you can, because school's for fools.
I like that.
Anyway, I told one of my neighbors that, and he didn't get the joke. He looked at me like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Kinda." He was a school teacher.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I value
being a school
education.
teacher.
I value education. My wife and I have degrees and stuff.
It depends on what education we're talking about.
It really does.
I got hard knocks, bro.
Yeah, no, there was legitimately there was a rumor going around. It turned they investigated it, turned out to be no big deal. But I was like, yeah, I'm not taking chances with that.
That's not really.
Why? Why would I take chances? So you can go to health class and find out that you don't know if you're a boy or a girl from your teachers. Like she could take a day off from learning about gender dysphoria.
That movie, Pat.
Yeah, literally, like the entire curriculum is tolerance and don't be so sure what gender you are. So I think she can take a day off.
Well, everybody thought that it was a joke until the DC sniper had a victim right down the street from my house.
Dude.
Yeah.
Then we realized, you know what? This is real after all.
Wow, you lived like right there, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, we don't play around when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah,
we take all threats as valid.
How are you so close? Is it like, are you like a distance, like over the river? Like how you live in a decent, nice place, you know?
Well, I put it to you like this. I've lived all throughout the DMV, the Maryland, DC, Virginia area. I have lived in DC.
God bless you.
I've lived in Maryland. I've lived in Virginia. So I'm very familiar with the area. And yeah, at the time that DC sniper thing happened, I was in Maryland.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So
that's crazy. That was nuts. And it was like, wasn't it like 2 days after 9/11? It was close, right? It was within.
It was pretty close.
It was like within a few weeks.
You had the DC sniper.
October.
You had the DC sniper. You had
10 days in October.
You had the anthrax, and then
it was so much going on, dude.
The world was scary.
I never felt like that before. That anxiety like that before.
Yeah.
And just this feeling of overwhelming just fear and dread.
Yeah.
Because we had the 9/11. That was, and unfortunately, I wasn't woke back then. So
wow, really?
You know, yeah, I was not woke, and so we had 9/11.
I was either.
Caught me by surprise. You know, I was still doing my Wall Street thing, and I had no idea about all of that stuff.
You were in New York?
I wasn't in New York when it happened.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
The day that it happened, I wasn't in New York. As a matter of fact, I never worked in New York.
Oh.
The firms that I worked in were in the DMV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what we did, we provided the derivative research and stuff for those people in New York and in Chicago. I was in,
my family's from the New York area, so it was just weird watching it. I was in New Hampshire. A couple weird things happened, and my close family members and NYPD, and all of a sudden it occurred to me I should probably call him. And I remember it was so scary dialing that number, and he called me back, and I was like, oh, thank God. And then I had another cousin right there. He was on working the scene, and I don't remember exactly how it worked, but it was basically like the lieutenants at one station all died, and the sergeants at another all lived, and he was at the one where they all lived. Thank God.
Yeah, we lost family members that day.
Yeah, it's brutal day.
No, I mean, we did. My family. We lost.
You
family
did.
Members. Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, we had family members in the World Trade Center, and we had friends and family at the Pentagon.
Oh, that's awful. Wow.
Yeah, it was a terrible time, and my wife was pregnant and about to give birth.
Oh my goodness.
It was a terrible time. So
that's awful.
What's more awful is not being woke when it happened. So I didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
All right. I'm thinking I know something, and I knew absolutely nothing.
Yeah, no joke.
It wasn't until 2009 that I became woke.
Wow. Yeah, the guy I was in a transition myself. It was like 6 months between my undergrad and my master's, and so I was staying with a guy, and he came home, and 3 workers. We were in that sort of Boston area. 3 of his coworkers were on one of the planes, and he just came home crying. The single guy, I known him for years, good guy, and he's like, 3 people from work were on the planes, and he just broke down. It was so bizarre, man. It was just so bizarre.
the church I was at the time, man, I can't tell you how many people were lost. It was the most saddest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And this was what I call a military church.
Yeah.
Meaning that the majority of the people at that church were either in the military or had for family members, immediate family members in the military. So it was, I can't even tell you the somber feeling. And then the lady in our back office at our firm, she lost a family member that day. And I just remember everyone just crying and just devastation, not knowing what's happening. But here's the sad part. Here's the funny, well, not funny, but weird part about it. 9/11, during 9/11, on that actual day, I made more money from my clients than I ever made before, ever.
Wow.
Because my system in its infancy back then had us to get short the market 2 weeks before 9/11.
It's crazy, man.
So
That's
it's
crazy.
like that was the only bright cloud that came. It's like,
well, we always talk about this. How
please stop referring to your system as a system, folks. He is a remote viewer. He remote viewed 9/11 and the situation that's happening. So 2 weeks before his remote viewing session, allowed his clients to make profits.
But that's the thing, though. We talked about this, about how it kind of reminds me of like the old Cliff High reports, where it's like it's just factoring in weird stuff that you could not predict, and somehow it all picks up on it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is what it is. Even if I will admit I don't always understand everything that I'm seeing, I would say 90% of what I see I understand. But that other 2%, it's these uncommon variables that happen. And like I said, what a lot of people don't realize is that it's the simple things that truly do confound the wise. It's little simple things that, people overlook. That's why most traders that have very high IQs suck at trading. And I'm here to tell you that I worked around some incredible minds. They were all Mensa Society members and, very high IQs and all types of degrees in physics and all that stuff. And everybody was trying to build models to figure out the markets. Wall Street has spent billions of dollars to do that. And they failed. Every single last one of them failed. The biggest failure, if you guys remember, at this time was long-term capital management. Everyone that worked there had won a Nobel Prize in mathematics and physics and things of that nature. So you had all Nobel Prize winners running a hedge fund.
Wow.
And they still blew up.
Degrees don't.
No, they completely and utterly blew up.
That's insane. Wow.
As a matter of fact, it was such a devastating blow up that it threatened to crash not the U.S. economy, but the global economy.
That's insane, really.
And that's where the first bailout came into play. The governments of the world had to come in and bail them out. They lost more than $1 billion.
Insane.
Overnight. Overnight.
Then that was something. Now it's not exactly a lot. You got to put something in perspective, right? Like $1 billion now, everyone talks about quarter to quarter, people making billions. It's not absurd to make $1 billion anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
The weight of it was pretty absurd because breaking the $1 billion mark was something special, that the biggest companies did. Now, if you don't do it, you're not one of the bigger guys. But makes it even more impactful if you explain it like that.
Yeah, but peep this though. Here's something else that's funny.
I'm peeping it.
Not only have they gone away, but dozens and dozens of other hedge fund firms like them have had to close up shop. And most of them, they went out on a high, and the reasons were unanimous though.
What happened?
And we can no longer make money in this market. And most people that it went over their heads. They were like, what do they mean by that? Okay. What they meant by that was there were certain exploits within the markets that existed during their time. that they were able to take advantage of with simple algorithms, not complicated ones, simple ones. Long-term capital management had an algorithm that they developed that said that prices only move between this much and that much outside of the parabolic ranges during certain market conditions. So if we counter trend trade that, then we'll be able to make a ton of money. And things were working fine for a while. But then all of a sudden, things started moving outside of the scope of the normal realm of their analysis, and the market started moving at percentage levels beyond, well beyond their market predictions. Their model said, okay, like for example, let's say 7%. Market never moves more than 7% outside of this norm. And the market started moving double and triple percentages outside of that norm. And that's what destroyed them, because the market did not come back into alignment. It kept going. So they blew up because their model blew up. Their algorithm blew up. But now you want to know something even worse than that? Mm-hmm. A similar algorithm was used over a decade later. And this one was used in the housing market. And it is what single-handedly caused the 2008 financial collapse. It was another algorithm similar to the ones that long-term capital management had put together. This other person who created this one said, okay, long-term capital got it wrong. They didn't account for this, thus, and thus. So here's a fix. We fixed that algorithm. And this one says that you can make triple the money, and all you have to do is stay within these norms. And so it was going good. And Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac was just throwing the loans up against the wall. And what people don't know is they were told to do it. All right. The Federal Reserve told them to do it. The Department of Treasury demanded that they do it. Okay. It came from the top. So they did it, and they rolled these algorithms. And as far as the mortgage-backed securities part of it, Wall Street handled that, because the little bright kid who came up with the algorithm, they said this thing works and we don't have to worry about it. And it blew up, because what happened? When the default started to rise, when the mortgage-backed securities themselves started to blow up, guess what? Everything else crashed. Now, here's something funny that most people don't know about that. Guess what? Guess who they used to create the mortgage-backed securities?
Who?
They used Jesse James. Who's Jesse James? You ready? Are you ready, folks? Give a big hand of applause for Morgan Stanley. They are for those of you who don't know, they are the king gunslingers of financial products that blow up in your face. They literally make and created products that were meant to blow up in people's face. That's where the term ripping your face off came from. Every major blow up in history dating back to the 80s came as a result of their products. Remember Orange, California, and other places and countries? Yes, it was their financial products that caused those people to blow up and lose billions. So they used them to underwrite these mortgage-backed securities. And yep, these financial instruments blew up in the investors' faces because people stopped paying their mortgages. And so therefore, those securities became worthless and they blew up, couldn't service the debt. And you know what happened? Hundreds of banks went belly up between 2007 and 2009. Hundreds. I think the actual number is 300 and something. Yes.
This video probably won't play on YouTube. You said like blow up like 50 times. So
yeah.
Well, in trading talk, blow up means
I'm gonna go on my VPN now just
failed.
in case. 192.74.44.99.
Oh my goodness! Look, so I'm bringing it home now. Please. So what happened is, you know,
Yeah,
again,
sorry, I'm distracted. We have a new guy in the room. I'm welcoming him, so I've been distracted talking.
oh, okay,
Yeah, I
no
gave him a shout
problem.
out earlier.
Hey, that's not a problem. So Dex, your latest remote viewing session. Go ahead.
See, Dex V knows.
Oh
People love those remote viewers. They love to throw money away on a remote viewer.
oh my goodness!
Come on, man.
All right.
I want 5,000 members in the trade room and 500,000 subscribers to this channel. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right,
We have Dex, the remote viewer, on, folks. He's no longer the algo capitalist. He's not the algo trader. He is now Dex, the remote viewer. So, what is the latest remote viewing session has shown you, and how do you feel about the chicken bones? Do you prefer the wing and the drum, or do you prefer the actual breastbone itself?
Oh my goodness!
The latest remote viewing session.
I like dark meat, so there you go.
So do I,
like
man.
dark
Dude,
meat.
chicken thighs are my favorite.
Oh, he's a
Thighs and wings all day, baby. Wings and thighs, no lies.
Look, you can't be racist toward me because I'm so many different races.
You're Irish,
So it doesn't
bro.
matter.
You're the most light-skinned dude I've ever seen. I thought you looked like Samuel L. Jackson. Boy, was I wrong.
You got the same.
I thought he was black as Wesley Snipes. That is not the case.
Hey,
we confirmed.
Sam is my favorite male actor, so haha.
We confirmed that me and him have the same haircut. That's the only thing we confirmed. That and his light hands. That's the only thing we confirmed.
Oh, someone posted the algo viewer.
Nice.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Algo viewer. That's it.
All right, here's where we're going. Everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know where are we going from here. Okay.
Yes.
Technically speaking, we are not in a official bear market in equities yet. However, we are still in a negative downtrend. So we have negative bot checks all over the place. We got negative momentum. Even though today the market's trying to rally up a little bit, it's still negative momentum. So I believe that the market is poised to absolutely collapse in price. I had to really break that down. Collapse in price. I didn't say global collapse. I didn't say economic collapse. I said collapse in price. I think the market correction is going to be devastating, and it could lead to a bear market. So we are in corrective mode still, and I think that it's in jeopardy of really getting some legs underneath of it. And really shock the world as far as how much money we give up. If it turns into an absolute bear market, it could get pretty ugly. I think the Dow could be in jeopardy of losing 10,000 points. Between now and this time, I want to say between now and January of 2020. So, somebody put a question there. Yeah, technically speaking, we have about 16,000 or so points of fluff built into the Dow. So for that reason, we could pull back to those levels and still be in a long-term bull market.
Wow.
What people don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, what they don't know is it takes time for things to trickle throughout the economy and throughout the market itself. Whenever the Fed lowers interest rates, it does, factor into the market. But if I remember correctly, my vice president of the firm taught me this. I think he said it takes about 18 months for it to filter through the market. One rate change takes 18 months to filter in the market. So all those low interest rates.
Sometimes I don't mean to cut you off, but this is a thing that they say on something that you should clarify maybe for everybody. But why do they say on CNBC or Fox News that it's been priced into the market? How does that mean anything if it's an 18-month window?
Okay, I believe. All right. First of all, CNBC.
Oh, I'm not giving credibility to them. I'm just saying this is what people listen to.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
CNBC is for entertainment purposes only.
I agree.
All right. You cannot make any kind of trading decision on anything that they say, ever.
All right.
Because they parade a bunch of people in that are going to cheerlead. They're the biggest cheerleading network I've ever seen in my life. So you cannot listen to CNBC. If you want to know the absolute real truth, and believe this or not, I know people are going to hate me when I say this, the most reputable channels I've seen in the business world is Fox Business, and I heard that Fox Business and Bloomberg. I'm dead serious.
Bloomberg. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've actually made money just listening to Bloomberg talk.
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard what a person said, and I hurried up and I pushed the buy button 5 minutes before the closing bell and made a ton of, and made 30 grand. I've never been able to do that with any other business channel, but I did it with Bloomberg. Yeah, all right. So Fox Business and Bloomberg, to me, you can listen to what they say because they bring on people who don't necessarily agree, but they break down what it is they believe and why they believe it. And then they expose themselves to the market. They'll say, I believe, let's say KFC has the best chicken. Therefore, I think a $5 up move from here is possible. And my firm, we are long KFC. And another person will come on and say, no, I think KFC's chicken is a little dry. And I think the stock is going to fall about $30 from here. And my firm is short KFC. That's how they talk on Bloomberg and the Fox Business.
Yeah, it's true. They do.
CNBC doesn't do that. CNBC does the opposite.
They've got their hands in every pot because they're owned by Time Warner.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why they can't. That's why I don't listen. I will say though, one of my favorite people to listen to on CNBC though is I like listening to Rick Santelli. Maria's over at Fox Business now. The Money Honey is at Fox.
Oh yeah, she moved over. Oh yeah,
the Money Honey. She moved over. Now people's like, why are you calling her that? That was the name she gave herself back in the 90s. Okay, so so she's over there at Fox now. And so is Payne, Mr. Payne. Yep. Mr. Payne used to come on from time to time on CNBC also back in the 90s. And he was one of the only men of color that was on CNBC that knew what they were talking about. Literally. I put him in the same boat as I would put Reggie Middleton as far as knowledge base is concerned. Wow. So he moved over to Fox Business as well. So anyway, CNBC is for entertainment. Jim Cramer, I love Jim Cramer's show. You want to know why? I think it's probably one of the most intelligent and well put together entertainment pieces of all time because he gives you some facts as far as econometric modeling. Like he'll give you facts about a company, about he'll break down their products and he breaks down the industry and he knows exactly what he's talking about because he used to run a hedge fund. So he's correct in that. But as far as trading advice of any kind and buy here and sell there, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I like what he talks about with a company, but as far as buy and sell, do the opposite of what he says and you'll make a ton of money. So if he says buy right here, you sell right there and you'll make a ton of money. All right, so that's how that works. So no, CNBC is saying all this, jazz. No, they're wrong. They've always been wrong. And when they are wrong, they never come on and say, okay,
that's I was wrong about CNBS. That.
Yeah. So, I give people props when they get it wrong and they admit they got it wrong. And I like giving people props who talk about good and bad, not just good. It's easy to cherry pick and say, oh, look, we did good here. Instead of saying, yeah, man, I messed up on that. That was a bad call, man. We got hurt. Just keep it 100, keep it a buck. So anyway, stock market's in trouble. One of the reasons stock market's in trouble is because the old adage selling may and go away. So you're going to continue to see selling pressure in the market as the big boys start to take money off of the table. They're not going to get out of the market completely, but they will be taking money off the table. That's why you've been seeing the price pressure consistently in the stock market. It has nothing to do with the China trade wars. I repeat, it has nothing to do with the China trade wars. All right. Most people could give a two hoots about that. All right. The big money cares about the where they put their money, and that's it. Do they think this company is gonna outperform and cut them that dividend check every quarter or every month? That's what they care about. China trade tariffs, they could give two hoots about. The only people who really care about that are those who have who use China to manufacture their products. Those people care. because their bottom line is going to be hurt, and they're going to have to raise prices here in the States in order to make up for that. So those are the ones that are sweating a little bit. But for the most part, they don't care about that stuff. Who cares? What they care about is it's sell in May and go away. People are about to go on vacation, and they don't want to have to be worried about the market, so they're taking profits off of the table. That's why you see selling pressure. It's not shorting. If people were really short this market, the Dow would be down a lot more than it's been, and it would do that every day.
Another percent. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. A 200-point move in the Dow is nothing.
Yeah, no, the 1% peel off is nothing more than a way for the media companies to say that the volatility and the trade wars that are happening are in effect. And in reality, this was probably going to happen with or without those outside factors.
Correct. Sell in May and go away.
Building for a while. Interest rates are honestly insignificant. I don't know if I should say that. I feel like they're insignificant. They're so
right now they are.
It still doesn't matter. Historically, they're still so low. What are they impacting? And if we were to go into crisis mode, we wouldn't be able to do anything with it. Like there's nowhere to go. No one else has anything. So like, what is it really worth? We're just leading the blind at this point. Like Japan's at negative. Germany's at negative.
Right.
Like, how is this? How are we borrowing? How are banks making money?
If it was really all of that, then the bond market would be already on fire. The bond futures, instead of being at 150, would be at 160 and 170.
Yeah.
And the dollar wouldn't be at 97; it would be over 100 already. It'd be over par by now. And gold would not be at 12.98; it would be at 13.98. So
dogs
that's how
and cats living together. It's mass hysteria.
Oh, and by the way, they've been talking that stuff again, talking about cybersecurity issues, but yet Hack is below $40 a share. As long as Hack stays below $40 a share, all the cyber nonsense talk that you're hearing, the fear mongering, is just political, and it's not real. It's only real when Hack gets over 40. So just letting you know that Hack is not over 40, so ignore whatever you're hearing about it. And as far as Bitcoin is concerned, I did warn you what to do with those stops. All right, it's already fallen from 83 to 80. Actually, it fell from 83 to 78. I'm sorry, 78.
Got to use that 2-bar Charlie.
Well, it's funny because we have a 2-bar Charlie in the Bitcoin futures today. We have a bullish 2-bar Charlie in Bitcoin futures today. For those of you who are members and don't really recall what I mean by a bullish 2-bar Charlie, you better watch that tutorial. Because it's
this is what remember the other day I was asking you there's another use for 2-bar Charlie, and I was wrong about. I remember I was trying to guess what it was. Is that what you're talking about? The other use?
No.
Okay, I gotta watch the video.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you off there. But yeah, had you been looking this morning, that's another thing, you guys too. All you gotta do if you have a futures trading account, just look at the futures before the 9:30 opening bell. Just look at those overnight prices, folks. Sometimes you can find a lot of 2-bar Charlies there, and it'll tell you what kind of day it's going to be. Because had you been paying attention, let's say you did trade the futures.
Can you define 2-bar Charlie for the people that haven't joined us and know what that is?
No.
Could you determine how depth maybe could help you here?
No.
An opening.
This is his big secret. He loves loves keeping 2-bar Charlie.
I'm not trying. I really wasn't going down that road. That road.
Absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not.
No. Okay. So 2-bar Charlie. The primary use of 2-bar Charlie is for setting very good intelligent stop losses. So that's the primary use. I'm not sure if that's the way he's referencing it now.
No, but that's what I was thinking. It's just like
that is the primary use, but remember the secondary use as far as knowing if it's going to be an all-day up day or all-day down day.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that one you got to watch the tutorial.
Hey, you know what, Dex? Why don't you and I, because you have a tutorial on that, but I like when we make them together. Why don't we do one on that other use of 2-bar Charlie tomorrow when we go live?
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah? Okay, cool.
Just remind me.
All right, I will.
And afterwards, I'll give you guys a lesson on a 2-bit Johnny.
2-bit Johnny.
Hey, go back to the institution.
I'm going to go get institutionalized again.
Go get institutionalized.
I do have another thing to say. Okay.
Please.
This is around the time of year 2.
Kathy today. Dex, I think this is the most I've ever heard you speak in one time.
Really?
This is the
He's
longest show
very
we've
chatty,
ever done.
Cathy, today.
Well, I had to get it all out. I had to get things off my shoulders. Okay, right now everyone's getting a rebate kind of because crude oil right now is at $62 a barrel after hitting $60 a barrel earlier this morning. So right now that's considered kind of cheap. The word on the street is that you're probably going to watch the energy sectors because they could be poised to explode.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because while everyone was watching, talk about tariffs and talking about, should we no longer be a capitalist country? Should we now become a socialist country? While everybody was getting caught up with that nonsense, the U.S. government decided to send battleships over there off the coast of Iran. All right, so battleships, guys. All right, one aircraft carrier in general has dozens of fighter jets on it. Wow. It's one of the largest in the naval fleet. In addition to that, here's something else you don't know, and that's because you probably have no way of hearing it because it's called a media blackout. But I'll tell you right now, folks, guess what? Did you know that the USA, along with France, decided to pull a false flag over the weekend, and we bombed
Iran
some ships off the coast of Qatar?
I did not know that.
Yeah, we're going to get heavy into them again.
We bombed some
Qatar,
some oil tankers.
so hot right now.
It was some oil tankers, and I think even a cruise ship was involved.
Wow.
France and the U.S. decided to bomb them. Jeez. As a matter of fact, there is video footage of the U.S. and French fighter jets flying over the area and just moments before the explosions. But you didn't hear that on the news, and you won't hear that on the news because we're trying to provoke a war with Iran.
You hear it on RogueNews.
And the reason why, you say, why would we do that? Why do we want to mess with Iran? All right, this is how you know that the U.S. is getting prepared to do an operation. The first thing that they do is they have to paint the area as the boogeyman, as a bad person. So they'll say this person gassed their own citizens, or they opened fire Tiananmen Square style on their citizens. Oh, we just found out they're sponsoring terrorism. Oh, we just found out that they have a nuclear operational plant and they're doing something with nuclear. We can't allow that, blah, blah, blah. All right. So so that's what they do. And meanwhile, everything they're saying about the place is a complete and utter and total lie. Iran is one of the nicer places within the Arab states over there. As far as the Gulf Coast is concerned, those are the real gangsters. Saudi Arabia and the majority of the Gulf Coast countries are the real gangsters. Qatar is not a gangster. Qatar is the most friendliest and open place down there. That's why the United Arab Emirates and them don't really get along with Qatar, don't really like Qatar, because Qatar is friendly with Israel. That's right. You have an Arab Muslim nation friendly with Israel.
Name another.
All right.
Name another person on radio or TV that can go from 2 Bar Charlie to geopolitical news hitting your home right now. Seriously, Dex, you're killing it.
Well, thank you. I have more. So what happened is there's a media blackout war when it comes to any U.S. relations or operations within the Gulf Coast or any of the Arab states. Now, it should also be noted that we do have a very important naval base located in the area as well. We have several over there. And as a result, we can do any operation we want over there and blame it on Iran, which is what we've been doing. Yeah, so the question is, why are we doing this with Iran? Why are we false flagging them and trying to set them up as a bad guy? I'll tell you why. Do you know there's only a handful of countries left that don't have the central bank? And Iran is one of them. We need to install a central bank there.
That's like the most sure indicator of us bombing somebody. is whether or not they're controlled by a central bank.
Actually, that's not the case. Actually, I think as crypto comes up, you have to realize that cash is still king. It's going to rise. Cash over the next couple of years will still continue to grow. Cash is still a very friendly thing to transact in the most anonymous way possible. So you can talk about Sure and Snark, super secretive things, but at the end of the day, it could all be traced, right? There's code leaving someone's hand and it's another person touching that, and
Right.
that's tracked to some location at some level. But with cash, it's just, I give you $100. Unless you got it on video, you ain't seen it, right?
Well, that's why they want the central bank in
They
Iran.
want cash flow. They want cash flow. Yeah.
Because I like to say Fed.
Yep.
Because in my opinion, until someone can prove me otherwise, I think the Fed of the United States controls all the central banks. And it's the head of all the central banks.
World Bank, I mean, maybe we have more influence on the World Bank, but I mean, if our democracy works, essentially it's separate, right? But I think the World Bank has more control. Maybe we have influence over it politically.
I think they drive
the BIS has the most control of all the federal banks in the entire world. The Bank of International Settlements, set up in 1933 by Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, also known as the Tower of Basel. That's the
who was financed by the Federal Reserve.
In terms of
financed by the Federal Reserve. In terms
of and who finances the Fed and the Fed banks? It'll be the banking elites, the banking families.
Yes.
The in terms of what's going on in Iran, about 2 weeks ago, I was basically right over target on this. And about 2-3 weeks ago, I said this. There's a lot of activity that was happening in Israel, and I spoke about this, especially to some of the subscribers over at the Patreon and over here on Rogue as well. One of the things I said is this: we had all of a sudden Hamas 3 weeks ago. Hamas and Jamia Islamiyah, which is one of the terror groups over there, were in Egypt. They were in Egypt. They were meeting with al-Sisi and some of the Egyptian Security Council members over there. And what was the agenda of the meeting? Well, the agenda of the meeting was, how can we smooth relationships and how can we just end this whole entire Israel-Arab war, this Israel and war with Palestine and Israel? How can we smooth things out? Okay. And in the middle of them having this meeting, they're meeting with Israel, and all of a sudden, conveniently out of nowhere, Hamas, quote unquote, a Hamas operative, and I use quotations on this, snipes an Israeli soldier, which also creates a blowback where Israel hits back at Hamas, and then Hamas, out of nowhere, launches 700 rockets. And these are Katyusha rockets. These are World War II based. I mean, you can build a better rocket if you go to a hobby store. They're terribly inaccurate. They don't have any sort of a real explosive punch. And then the Israeli Iron Dome, which is a piece of crap air defense system. The Iron Dome, which has maybe a 20% accuracy of hitting anything. All of a sudden, miraculously is able to take down 90% of the 700 rockets, right?
FYI.
And then without any proof.
What'd you say?
Okay. Without any proof, Israel went ahead and says, it's Iran. Iran did it. Iran is funding Hamas. Most average Westerners don't know that Hamas is Sunni. Iran is Shia. They hate each other. Iran supports Hezbollah, which is not a terrorist organization. They're a political party. And Hezbollah is Shiite. Hezbollah hates Hamas. Hamas, Hezbollah will never work together. Hamas and Iran will never work together. Hamas was created by Mossad and MI6, as well as the CIA, as a counterbalance to Hezbollah. Hamas eventually became the dog that bit the master's hand, and in some regards and in a lot of ways have gotten out of control. So nonetheless, it provides a perfect pretext to what? Blame Iran. And then after blaming Iran, what happens? Israel, their head of security, he went ahead and told John the maniacal mustache Bolton that American assets are in danger of being attacked in Iraq by Iran. Now, this is Iran, who has completely helped the Syrians dust up ISIS, aka USIS. This is the same Iran that has helped secure the borders in Syria, the same Iran that has work to fix the situation in Syria and then pull back into themselves, right? No other, they're not going to go after a momentous victory in Syria. They're not going to provoke a war with the U.S. The stupidest thing in the world. But Bolton, using this as a pretext, all of a sudden sails the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is a $7 billion obsolete piece of crap equipment that could be brought down by a $10 million Chinese and or Russian-made anti-ship missile that Iran has plenty of. So the entire American Navy is a sitting duck in that whole entire area. Now, I've said this many times. Russian missile systems are 2.5 generations ahead of anything we have. That is a damn fact. Secondly, the USS Abraham Lincoln is over there. Recently, I mean, Dex just mentioned some of the false flag attacks. Well, here's another one for you. The Saudi pipeline that was all of a sudden droned by a bunch of goat herders from Yemen were able to arm a drone and fly thousands of miles to go hit a Saudi pipeline. Yeah, you believe that story? I have a distillery in the UAE that I'll sell you. If you believe that, I have a vodka dispensary and distillery in the United Arab Emirates to sell you if you believe that story. So you have this false flag attack with the cruise ship and with some of the patrol boats that are happening in the Gulf. You have a false flag attack on the Saudi oil. And what are they doing? They're all blaming Iran. What the hell is so special about Iran? Well, to understand Iran, you got to go back to 1997. In 97, a certain guy who was a technocrat who belonged to the Trilateral Commission wrote a book, and his name is Zbigniew Brzezinski. He wrote The Grand Chessboard. And old Ziggy said, you know what? The greatest threat that America could face is a power. And where would that power arise from? Well, it will arise from a united Eurasia. What are we facing today? Well, we're facing the new Silk Road. We're facing the One Belt, One Road initiative that's happening right now, being built by China and Russia. And Brzezinski named a few pivot points on how to contain it. He said, you got to hit North Korea. You got to hit Ukraine. Control of Ukraine and Eastern Europe is control of Africa, believe it or not. And you got to contain Iran. So the hitting against Iran has a lot to do with the petrodollar. It's also the same reason why they're hitting Venezuela. Remember, like weeks ago when we started intervening in a coup in Venezuela, what was he saying? Hezbollah. Remember that idiot Pompous Pompeo? He was out there saying Hezbollah is operating in Venezuela. What a bunch of horse crap. Iran is operating in Venezuela. What a bunch of horse crap. They don't need evidence. They don't need any of this. These guys are starting to fight a multipolar world, trying to keep their unipolar Anglo-Zionist world order in place. It's not going to work. And that's what you're seeing, this transition. This is the dying of an old system and a birthing of a new one. And what's going to happen in between, I can't tell you.
Well, not only that, but we need to also keep in mind that as far as any military action with Iran, China and Russia have already said they're on the side of Iran.
Yeah.
So if anything happens, all it's going to do is going to bring all of Eurasia together against the U.S.
Indeed.
And that's not out of the question either. And it's funny because the Middle East actually called themselves Asia, which is funny. There was a Asia conference recently, and a lot of the United Arab Emirates players were there. So the good news is that I have access to a lot of the Middle East local television. People that live here in the United States have no access to that because it's not on cable. And we have pretty much a media blackout when it comes to like Al Jazeera and other stations. There are other stations I can't pronounce their names because they're in Arabic, and I'm not fluent in Arabic yet. But I do have access to those stations, and I do have people that can sit with me and interpret what I'm hearing. Some of it I can pick up on, and it's obvious, but I do have access to that. So that's how I know everything that I just finished telling you. It's not from me. It's not me saying it. I'm just parroting.
Just say it's the chicken bones and you remote view. Come on, man.
I'm just repeating what I have heard spoken from the people over there themselves that are, there. They live there and they're aware of the situation from a different perspective than me over here, thousands of miles away. But as far as the markets, yeah, I got that. That's coming from me. No. Political stuff.
If he's not going to admit it, folks, I'm going to say right now, I have remote viewing powers, and I'm remote viewing right now that on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern is going to be an awesome webinar. It's going to teach you everything you need to know. It is PulseWave trading for beginners. After you register, you're going to receive a confirmation email about joining the meeting. And I'm telling you right now, look, folks, there's very few exploits available to the average American that you can utilize to take your future by the cojones and ride it into the horizon, baby. That's what we're talking about. We got about another 4 or 5 years of some good times, some good milk and honey, and it's time for you to take advantage of it. Join the Watchers Trade Room. Join the conference. The link is in the description box, and we have had a long this has been a long show. So I want to thank all of you for listening in. Hit the subscribe button, hit us with a thumbs up, and thank you all for being here.
Like and subscribe.
And by the way, we're leaving the elephant in the room. Like we're supposed to unhear that he said you got about 4 or 5 years left with no explanation. We didn't hear that. He's gonna hit you and run, hit and run.
That's it. We're out.
Peace.